hangout as I am smiling both outside and inside because we are, a Global Rockstars speaker series that we've launched a month ago, and we had David Burkus, Jane Anderson, Gail Harris, Amberly Dibble, and the list goes on and on. But tonight is going to be really a special moment with two of my good friends, Ted Coyne and Mark Babbitt. And we've been having so much fun for like more than 30 minutes, not live. And our rock star producer Tal Schnall is, supporting this hangout. And we're going to go global tonight. Our world has gone global. Ted and Mark, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for setting a stage for many leaders out there. And so what I'm doing right now is just I'm turning over to you a few introductory remarks, and then going to Jane, Sue, Suzanne, and Tal. And then we're going to launch into a discussion. I'm going to be asking questions. And this is going to be spontaneous. We're going to go for about 35 minutes or so. So without further ado, and I know that Akim is watching us, so hello, Akim. Ted, Mark, how are you doing?
We're doing great. Thank you so much for having us on here. I love this show, so I'm really glad. I feel like I'm at home with my peeps right now.
There we go. We love you too.
And I just wish that our audience could have seen some of the fun we've already had. So they might have appreciated the blooper reel more than the content.
I'm done. I'm going home.
Thank you so much, Mark, for being there. It's such a pleasure to connect with you. Jane, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great tonight. Looking forward to this conversation because one of the things that I love to do is read books and write reviews about them. So this gives me a little inside story before I actually get the book because I just got it 30 minutes before we started.
Wait. You have the hardcover. Ted, she has the hardcover.
Nobody has it. What's the secret?
I write reviews and I promote authors.
Oh, gosh.
That's how, okay, good.
Oh.
So that's a scoop right there.
Very cool. Hold that up again. I haven't seen one yet. Hold that up again. Not that I'm a proud pauper. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, no pictures. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
No pictures.
I was going to, but see, that's the spontaneity of our hangouts. James, you're so wonderful.
Thank you. I get paid to be wonderful.
Yeah, no, you're doing it. It's just pure bliss. It's just so natural, just like Sue, right, Sue?
All right, so Jane, before we move along, Johan, if you don't mind, Jane, I just want to ask you like a really serious question. Can you please write a really, really, really good review, even if you don't mean it?
Yeah, exactly. That's not possible.
No, I'm kidding.
Is he asking me to compromise my ethics?
That's the question every author thinks, and no author until now has ever said. At least not lying.
We need to check if there's a chapter in the book about ethics.
Yeah, there is.
If there is, I will definitely write about that.
Ethics is going social.
Preach. It's do what we say, not what we do.
Well, the book title is not ethical leadership; it's social leadership.
Well, thanks so much, Mark, for opening that space for us to rejoice. Sue, did you want to say a few words before this hangout goes somewhere we haven't planned?
Yes, absolutely. I'm delighted to be a part of this. I love switchandshift.com. Ted and Mark's website. I read most of the articles that are up there. I always find time to read them because they really are written by people who care, who know what they're talking about, and who break it down in a way that's really useful for people. So thank you for putting that out there in the world.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. That right there, boom, boom, boom. That's actually what we strive for. So that's really neat.
See, he didn't even have to ask her to do something she didn't want to do.
Sue, I spent enough time with Sue to know that Sue speaks from the heart. Thank you so much, Sue, for saying that.
Very kind, Sue.
Yeah, it is. Suzanne, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I just did. So,
hi.
You want to say a few words?
Yes, hi. I'm so glad to be here. Akim Noak, who's not here but he's listening, always talks about anticipatory joy. And I have to say, you guys, I had so much anticipation about being here, like so super excited. And why? It's because I haven't finished the book. It's kind of like the book that I never want to have end. And because it's so much about including and involving people on the most important issues of the business. And I'm just in love with it. I'm madly in love with it. And I'm not saying this to flatter. I'm saying it because this is really serious stuff. I'm really excited. But there's the added bonus that you guys are all a heck of a lot of fun. And if we can mesh fun and some serious work, it's exciting. So I'm here from Toronto, Canada, but I live in Florida. So that makes it international in itself.
And she's gonna write a good review too.
She has already. You are late, buddy.
No, not to put any pressure on any of the rest of you, but Suzanne has been sending us like a chapter by chapter. These are my thoughts on this chapter email, and what a delight! I am in heaven. So.
Yeah, it's an unexpected surprise to get a play-by-play as somebody is reading your book. It's actually it's actually quite humbling. Yeah. So the last chapter, she said, "I'm sorry, guys, that one sucked," but it's still
this was about the ethics, right? Oh gosh, Tal, man, thank you so much for organizing this one.
Somebody's got to do the hard work, right? But I'm grateful to see you guys again. I think it was an amazing hangout we did with Lead with Giants. So really appreciative of connecting with you guys again. It's fun, and I can tell you the feedback on any type of connection with you guys has been an amazing one. You don't have to twist my arms to do all of that. I can do it on my own. So it's wonderful. I'm just thankful to be connected with all of you guys here. It's just an amazing group of people. Akim, I wish you could join us, but I know you're watching us there in spirit, so let's have fun, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, without any further ado, we're going to take a moment to appreciate. No, I'm trying to be serious here.
Okay.
Before we go into questions, I want to, like Suzanne said, and thanks, Tal, for saying hello to Akim, and he's there in spirit with us. I want us to appreciate the significance of this book. You know, I mean, how cool, first of all, is that we have two great authors with us in an open space. And Suzanne is, you know, the person that sets those trends about opening space. We just are doing it right now. We have the both of you with us tonight. You know, before we go into questions, I want to just appreciate the incubation, the process of writing this book. What has it been like? And how is it that this is, for you, changing the game? You know, setting a conversation that is going to be unique, that is going to be enduring for months to come. So, what has it been like to write this? Just, you know, you guys wrote this one, so, you know, how has it been? What kind of experience have you gone through to come with this, you know, marvel?
Well, okay, that's very kind of you. It's not up for us to agree with you about what a marvel it is, but let me tell you this.
Yeah.
I am so lucky that I hit a wall and was unable to write any further, and was talking to my friend Mark Babbitt about, and my business partner at that time, about, all right, I need a co-author. Who do you know? And I'm so lucky that he said, I'd like to help you write that book. I've got a lot to say on the subject. I've been following it as well. Because first of all, the perspective. You know, we have two very different ways that we look at the career space. Second of all, Mark and I have been going back and forth, kind of building on each other, tearing each other apart as needed. It's really, really helpful. I don't know how people write books by themselves. Everyone thinking of writing a book, get yourself a smart co-author.
Do you agree with that, Mark?
Well, I don't know if you agree with the smart part, but
no, everything but the smart part.
I think that was a good review, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, we, you know, here's the thing. Ted and I, we love each other's company. I love Ted's sense of humor. I love working with Ted and our partner Sean. I mean, there's just so many things that we have to be grateful for. And now, having said all that, Ted and I probably couldn't be more polar opposites in many, many areas. Our cores, I think, are the same, but maybe politically, which side of the brain we use to think with, how we process things, or in Ted's case, we don't process things.
Maybe how we experience things.
Right. Okay, that's better. You know, I'm an engineer by trade, right? And Ted is very creative, and somehow these two personalities, we got together, and Ted's right. The book, if either one of us would have written this book individually, it wouldn't have anywhere near the power that it feels like it does now. And sometimes it's been like giving birth, and sometimes it's been like holding the baby in your arms and just smiling. It's been both, but it's been an amazing experience.
Well, you guys are kind of speaking to a creative tension, which is necessary in organization to thrive these days. And, you know, and beyond that, I think there's just love. I think the love that bonds you two is unique. And, you know, when I hear business leaders that say, love isn't really part of my day-to-day, well, guess what? It is. Because out of that, there's a lot of beautiful things and magic that can happen, and we're just, you know, so grateful that you are with us to share your personal journey of being in a relationship and what this does for you, and we can feel it. So I want to thank you for that. So I'm just going to ask the first question, and really the first one is, I think, how the customer view or experience becomes so instrumental in how we're managing our day-to-day. And what I want to hear you about is, you know, how is social media made it so prominent that the customer focus and how we're running businesses in organization or even the public service, as I'm, you know, a public servant, has become so central in how we need to thrive.
Well, I think. Oh, Ted, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I was going to defer to you. Go ahead.
All right. So a big part of this is that, well, there's two parts. One, customers now, and it hasn't taken long, right? The social age has only been around for 5, maybe 6 years now, but in those 5 or 6 years, customers have turned the corner. They don't expect to be on hold for 45 minutes. They don't expect it to take weeks to get an answer. They want to get on social media, and they want to be heard. They want to be listened to. They want their opinion to be felt. And we've never dealt with that before. In you know, since the first industrial age, corporations, companies, service bureaus, we talked at people. We told them what they wanted. We told them what they would like about our new products. We sold the shiny cars, you know, the only way we knew how, and that was to speak big and loud. And now it's about listening. Now it's about engaging and actually giving your customer a voice, and that's very new and frankly very scary to especially the legacy corporations. This is not something we're used to, and it's a little terrifying.
So to build on that, so, you know, there's a saying in sales, and in my 20s I was in sales. It's my first career of many. The saying is, we sell the sizzle, not the steak. Well, you know what? So here's the thing. You sell the sizzle of a steak all you want. Go for it. Customers are getting on Twitter. They're getting on Facebook. They're, you know, asking their friends, wait a minute, what does this steak really taste like? companies have completely lost the control of spin. They can try all they like, but customers don't care because customers ask their friends. They go to review sites. They go to Yelp before they check into a hotel or make reservations or a restaurant. They don't need to read the copy on the website and just accept that as the gospel truth. And companies don't know what to do about this. It's a wonderful thing when you catch the few companies who are getting it and nailing it because they are flying ahead of their competition.
Whoever wants to jump on this.
I'll go ahead because I know I kind of talking about, you guys were talking about process or as Ted like to think about experiences, and I can relate to that because in working with customer service, it is mostly the added value is through the experiences, but you obviously need some processes and systems to make it happen, obviously. But I like the word experiences because that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. If you can create that positive wow experience, delightful moment, we call it surprise and delight in our industry. And I think it's so important now more than any other time that social media or going social, leaders need to understand not to lose that, because it's not just liking somebody on Facebook or putting something out there. It's about that conversation you have with that customer, even while they're at your hotel. If they are going, and whether they go into a TripAdvisor, you want to have that conversation. So I want to ask you a question in regards to that. Where do you see that's going? I mean, and how does that impact, more specifically, how does that impact the businesses, and how is that going to make an impact for future, from your perspective?
So it's funny. I'm sorry, Mark?
No, you go ahead this time.
Well, okay. So I have a great hotel experience. I'm having trouble getting into my hotel room, and this is, maybe a year ago, I don't remember. But I'm having trouble getting into the room. I just can't get the lock to work, and I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated. It's been a long trip, and I just want to get in my room and unwind, right? So I call down to the desk and I get on hold, which disappointed me, to say the least. So instead, I hang up the phone and I go to Twitter. And I just said to the brand, I said, boy, I sure would love some attention here at this hotel. Let me tell you something. The manager was upstairs unlocking me. The social channels were on it, whereas the old school, this is how we've always done things, let's put our customers on hold model, they just were lagging. So this company, and no need to use brand names, but this company was absolutely on social and listening, and that interaction is priceless. Too many brands today, they don't listen, they just broadcast. Oh, like us on Facebook, here's a discount, here's the latest article in the Wall Street Journal of what a wonderful company ours is. No, you got to be there ready for when your customer says, I could use your help.
And you share that story in your book about Zappos and the shoe story, so I know I don't want to kind of steal that away from you, but I know that's a great example. You were just talking about how somebody can just lose it.
Well, and I think, Tal, it goes, to answer your question even further, I think it goes a little bit deeper, and I know Suzanne and I have talked about this, I know she agrees. We now, instead of, it used to be we had call centers and scripts, and we were anonymous. Every once in a while, even on social, we get that little tick mark with the person's initials behind it, so they didn't actually have to give their real name. But we were basically, as service organizations, we were anonymous, and we got to hide, and it's not like that anymore. So now, all of these organizations that for decades have been hiring people just good enough to breathe and use their opposable thumbs and follow a script. Now we're hiring people that can solve problems. We're hiring people that want to own an issue personally. You're not happy? I'm going to make you happy. I don't have to ask for permission. I don't have to go to my boss. I don't have to read the script. I'm going to fix this problem right now. And those are the people that are in the highest demand in a lot of industries: hospitality, food service, healthcare, sales, marketing. I mean, everywhere you turn, instead of just hiring a body now, we're deliberately hiring problem solvers, and I think that's a major change in the social age.
I just want to add a comment to what you just said, because I think the social leader will take those whatever the reviews are or the comments out there in social media, and share with their team and say, hey, there's a great story about customer service, but guess what? It wasn't a letter, it wasn't an email, it was something on Twitter, it was something on Facebook, and that's a great engagement opportunity with your staff. So that's something that just thought about expanding your idea there.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Suzanne?
Okay, I just want to jump in about something that I found really amazing in the book, is that we're talking a lot about social media here, but it's really what social media did to bring us into the social age. And I think there's that very distinction in the book that is really amazing. And coming from a background of manufacturing, you're doing Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, everyone's looking for predictability and control and organizing our systems. And in this explosive world that this has brought, unseen ever, what I'm realizing is that we won't be able to build a little path that we can all predict and control. We're going to want to tap into, and I know we need our systems, but somewhere in the middle, this building job of the future is going to be that multitude of passionate people. And if people were able, and I'd like to ask you guys, you two authors, is there a way to look at this from a positive perspective? Not everything that's going to hit us that's negative and the threats, and if you don't do this, and if you've got all these people out there that are watching you every minute, and they're going to Twitter the death out of you. But what if we looked at like these detail doers, these behind-the-scenes people, these people in our hotels, in our midst, problem solvers, and thought, wow, they're all there. Maybe we can work a little less and have a lot more fun and get things done in my rose-colored glass way. And what do you think of that? Is it the future? Can this be the future?
Focus on happiness and inspire profits.
That's productivity. Like this serious business. Like, it's serious.
Yeah. Inspireprofits.com. Where does that
So, Sue and I actually, Suzanne, Sue and I were discussing this before everyone else hooked into our call, or before we got the right connection. Never mind the details.
Must be nice.
We were having a nice little one-off conversation about that. See, so here's the thing, and this goes back to what Mark says too. So we had workers who were jumping through hoops as told, and that's just not very, it's efficient, but you can't bring your whole self to work, can you? You're not asked to show up as an adult. You're asked to show up as a machine. The nice thing about the social age is we are, as companies, we can no longer think, we can program out all possibilities. And that way, if A happens, then we go to B, and if not, we can go over to C. It doesn't work that way. People need to be able to think on their feet, so companies need these creative thinkers. Well, the thing is, those creative thinkers, they're going to companies that are going to treat them right. They're going to companies where they want to work. And not just because they're spoiled with all sorts of great, nap pods and catered meals and things like that. That's kind of the icing on the cake. Really what they want is they want to be treated like the mature, responsible adults that they know they are. That we all are when we're at home, when we're with our family. We go to work and we're expected to leave 2.5 pounds of our 3-pound brain in the car. That's crazy. So any work environment where we can bring all 3 pounds into work, be our whole self, have fun, be creative, get the job done as opposed to jump through the hoops, that's where the top talent is going to go. So what you're going to see is top talent goes more and more to these enriching environments, and everyone else is stuck with the leftovers. It just speeds the decline. The social age is really the age of humanity.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well,
and Suzanne, to answer your question directly, Ted's right here. There are a ton of companies that are doing an amazing job, and some of them, by the way, they did it like Container Store. They did an amazing job of treating their customer really well before social came along. Yeah. Well, now that social's here, they already had that culture of caring. They already had that problem solver mentality, and they're world renowned for fixing the customer's problem. And now that social's around, their level of service, their level of happiness, their level of ownership has never been bigger. So social, we say this all the time, social amplifies both the good and the bad, and I think especially in the press, we do tend to latch on to the negative, call it the reality TV syndrome or something. But the reality is, Suzanne, there's a whole bunch of really, really good companies that have embraced the social age and are just, you know, running with this, and the results are amazing.
I want to jump. Okay, Mark. I mean, I couldn't agree more with you. And in the spirit of open space, you know, and Suzanne is going to smile. If it is that simple, if happy people lead to more profits, right, Sue?
Yes.
Why is it so darn difficult? I mean, is it because we tend to complicate things? I mean, I love the analogy of, you know, of that container store you mentioned, Mark, where they were doing it before, they were getting it, therefore the world changed. Guess what? I think the world changed around them. Maybe part of that was the answer, but I mean, what is it that is so complicated yet so simple? And then you add the social layer on top of that, you know, and I think you kind of see extremes, you know, where there's a lot of humanity or an absence of, and then, you know, you kind of see the results that are unfolding from a loss or a presence of humanity. So,
well, Johan, we you know, for decades we've been hiring, we've been bringing in new team members, we've been bringing in the people that take care of our customers using a very broken system. You know, for quite a while we took whatever somebody said on their resume, we believed it, right? Until we proved different. Then social came along, and we could start verifying some of this stuff, right? We could do like an informal background check and find out if somebody's that happy, peppy person they said on their resume, or if they're really a troll and they just said what they had to get the job, right? In the past, we couldn't do that. Now because we're bringing in the companies who get it, are bringing in these amazing people that aren't just happy. By the way, it's not really a function of being happy. One of the things we learned in this book is lots of people talked about being happy. Happy is one thing. Being content and wholly aligned with the mission of the organization is a whole nother thing. And that's where the secret is. That's the secret sauce. Is great. You're not a drama queen. You're not a diva. You're not a troll. That's amazing. But do you believe in what we're doing here? And that's what we're hiring for now. And we could never do that before because all we could do was take somebody's word for it. You know, I spend my day job is in the career space, and I tell people all the time, you know, you say something on your resume, where's your social proof? You know, you say you're passionate about marketing. When's the last time you shared a blog by Seth Godin, or any other influencer in marketing? Where, you know, on your Facebook page, on Twitter, you know, LinkedIn. When did you provide a LinkedIn update that said, I just read this amazing blog on lean startups? You guys, you got to see this, right? That's social proof, and that's what we're looking for now. We're not just taking people's word for it and then hoping the background check and the references come back okay. We're actually going to many, many, many levels farther than we ever have before, and it's making a huge difference. We haven't fixed the broken hiring system, but we've made a really big Band-Aid, and it's getting better.
I love it. Sue, I want to give you an opportunity to say stuff just because I just put you on the spot.
Thank you. And I was itching to say something too. So thank you, Mark. That was brilliant, first of all. And I love that use of social media. And for those of you who are wondering why people keep talking about Inspire Profits, that's my company. Tagline is we help companies make more money by making their people happier. But I wanted to go back to something that Ted had said at the beginning about companies being afraid of what people are saying about them. And I've dealt with a lot of small businesses who get negative write-ups on Yelp or on other social media sites, and their response is anger, fear, revenge. How would you help business owners, managers, the people on the front lines who are dealing with this kind of step back take a breath and deal with this in a way that benefits the customer, benefits the company, is constructive.
Great question.
We have a really brilliant example. The nice thing about using examples throughout your book is you don't have to invent this stuff. You can just find it. So we have a really brilliant example of how it's two publicity nightmares that happened to two airlines within a few short months of each other. One was United, so that's the bad story. They didn't handle that well. The good one is Southwest Airlines. So first of all, the background in Southwest is since I think 1973, this company has been customer-centric. It's been absolutely embracing making sure their people are happy in performing their mission. So the whole thing it's a wonderful company. Occasionally they make mistakes. They do. And one of the times they made a mistake was a few years ago. I don't know if any of you are familiar, but they kicked Kevin Smith off the plane. He's a director. And they decided once he was settled in his seat that he was too big for only one seat, and they kicked him off the plane. And it was a huge deal. The guy's a Hollywood director. 1 million people started reading his tweets. The way that Southwest handled it, and we can't do it justice without going line by line, but they were so classy. They said right away, we are so sorry if we can, talk to you, offline on email, telephone. One of the the vice president of customer experience said, Mr. Smith, I'm going to call you on the number we have for you. The whole thing. So here he was, justifiably angry and embarrassed. And having this, justifiable or not, temper tantrum in the public eye, the way that Southwest handled it was not defensive. It was, okay, we want to make you happy, and we're really sorry that this happened. They even included in their tweets back and forth a URL to here's the complete story, the rundown. They didn't delete any tweets that occurred. Nothing. It was all completely, the word transparent is a little too used these days perhaps, but you know what that word really means? It means honest. And they were honest, and that's what companies have to be. So on the one hand, you have to treat people well long before you need to. They started doing it in 1973, their employees. And on the other hand, when a crisis hits, you have to handle it with tact. And what I think really makes the difference is they were able to handle it with tact because they had really high caliber people working there who love their company. Now, if your people don't love your company, who are you going to have handling your crises?
Well, and thank God we have Tal, because gosh, he so did that tonight. As we try to launch a hangout. Yeah, exactly. Let me just send love your way, Tal. And I know, because we're doing this under your profile, and you have to go soon. So I want to give Jane an opportunity to jump, because I know, Jane, you've been taking a lot of notes, and I almost feel like we should do part 2 of this, perhaps when the Zoom.us site is on for the Rockstars community. And thanks, Mark, for suggesting that use, as Sean Murphy, hi Sean, sent an email late today saying he wasn't going to be able to be with us, but we're going to certainly expand and try Zoom for part 2. So Jane, you want to ask a question, just feed off what Ted just mentioned, or whatever comes your way.
I don't really have a question. I'm glad that we're going to do part 2 on this, because you're right. How could you tell I was taking notes? I was,
really on the top of your head, Jane.
It's so funny because somebody mentioned something about behind the scenes, and Ted and I were having a little chat. I think it was, I don't know, it might have been public, but he was asking me about not being able to see my face, and I said, yeah. I am like a stagehand. I am not the actor. I'm the one that works behind the scenes when nobody can see me. I'll do a lot of work for you, but I don't really want to be out there where someone can see me. So.
Well, your heart is showing, Jane. A lot
but
of it.
I can end with the way that I always end my emails. Treat yourself to joy every day.
Yeah.
And find something positive about every day. You have to focus on what you have, not on what you've lost or what you don't have, because what you've got is what you've got.
Yeah.
I love it.
And And for Ted and Mark, you have to know, thank you so much, Jane. Jane is one of our precious gifts in the tribe. She brings a lot of vibrancy and resonance, and her heart is shining on the day-to-day. And, Tal, how much time we have with you?
We've got, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to rush anybody.
Okay.
I know we had kind of a
This is an
reception.
excuse.
We had a happy hour before the hangout, so I know that everybody was all pumped up, ready to go. I think I've got maybe another 15 minutes for me, so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You're showing a lot of humanity. We love you for that.
Am I? We'll love everybody.
Yeah. So, since we have 15 minutes, and our time is precious, and we're going to have another part to this. I guess we were somewhat scripted, and I'm going on the iPad here and trying to find the questions, and maybe I'm just looking at your resume talents, and yet we're just fine for tonight. But the point is humanity. I think to me, being social is being out there. But the point about the world change, the landscape has changed with going social. You don't need the social aspect to be a hard-based company like Southwest Airlines. You referred to Ted. But I guess my question is about your point about humanity, and I really love that word, is how far is it, and I guess what I'm trying to say is for leaders or for employees out there, how far do you go to show that you are there, and is it a question of balance that I'm empowered to represent the brand and represent who I am? I mean, as you say, you're not leaving part of your identity at the door here, but you're able to be your full self. What sort of tension is it between an employer and an employee in this social realm? That am I being able to represent the brand fully, or am I holding back on who I am?
Well, I think a big part of that, Johan, is one word: trust. And if the employer doesn't trust the team member, from the newest intern all the way up to the the CEO, if we don't trust them to own the brand and to make good decisions, and then respect those decisions, whether it was on the books or not, or against policy, if we know that person did whatever they had to do to solve a problem, or to impress the what out of a customer, or to capitalize on a new opportunity, if their heart was in the right place and we trust them and we respect them, good things happen. But the opposite has to happen too. The employee needs to feel as though they are respected and trusted, and otherwise they're not going to stick their necks out, right? They're not, this is my personal brand, this is my ego, this is my livelihood, right? They're not going to make the hard decisions if they're afraid of the chopping block coming down next. And again, I mean, there's so many companies that are doing this part right, that are going out of their way to say, look, we might handle that next time a little bit differently, but I'm so happy you took care of the customer this time, and you just made a really big difference in somebody's life, and you made them feel good about our brand again and that product again, and we applaud you for that. And then everything else is talked about later, and I think that's a big part of it. And by the way, it's not just, we're talking here in this case about the employer dynamic. This is also true with vendors, suppliers, each other, customers, collaborators, even competitors sometimes. When we treat each other with humanity, good things happen. And when we're so worried about agenda or what I'm mad at about, from home, or whatever our human condition is at the moment, it comes through, and it's sometimes not very pretty. But again, the companies that are really getting this and are embracing social, not just as a listening tool but a trust tool, some pretty cool things are happening.
I'd like to add to Mark, because reading between the lines is the best measurement of a brand is the stories people tell about that brand. So we have a customer, you have a supplier, you have a vendor, you have employees who are willing to share their memories from that brand or whatever that storyline is, to put it out there by going social. I can't tell you, I work for a brand, and one of the most powerful things that they would like to achieve more and more and more and more, they would love you for it, is if a customer goes on these social channels and tell about that hotel employee, how they raved and how they just created a wow experience for them, you are their winner. You don't have to be the general manager of the hotel. It's just that wow extraordinary experience is going to take that brand where they want to be. So just want to add to Mark, because I think that's such a powerful thing. You can't, it's not metrics, it's about storytelling.
Now, Todd, compare that, if you don't mind, compare that to last time you went to your cable company or your phone provider, and at the end of the discussion, they say, you're going to receive a survey in your email, and we're measured by how often we get 5-star reviews. Yeah. So I'd really appreciate it if you give me a 5-star review, even if I sucked. And they have the nerve to ask for that. So compare what you just said about the testimonial economy, right, and having people rave about you in a positive way, versus the companies that are deliberately asking for a 5-star review, whether they've earned it or not. I mean, there's one company that gets it and one company that clearly does not.
Well, you get on these phones. I actually had to return a product recently, and it's under warranty, and she just arbitrarily just said, would you like to fill out a kind of an electronic survey? And I said, it just came out of her without any pre-conversation about it, and that was just, to me, was almost a robotic script that somebody, either the business gave you to read, and that's where they missed the mark, is that it's not a script, it's not a checklist, it is an experience, it's a story that somebody will take with you, and if you can't get that's just bad business.
Well, I'm in here because I can't help
it. Ahead,
here I am. I mean, there has to be a part 2 to this session.
Yes, there will. There will
be. I'm out my skin about some stuff that's being said. But, on this about, and I'm going to bring another name of a friend of ours, who also, Tom Asaker. I say his name. This whole thing about knowledge and data and more information, when we think of our businesses being so led by that. So there we have people who know the leadership is going to measure them on that number 5 or that number 4. And what you guys have done so magnificently, really, is that when Tom wrote this book, The Business of Belief, and it's on the premise that people desire something. And when they desire something, they believe it. Well, we've got tons of people that desire to be part of your company, to feel that their role matters. And they want to believe that. And we have to show we believe in them. And as you say, trust them. And you have all these people there that can do amazing things for you that we are ignoring because we're flooding our heads with more financials and more information and more data, which is not delivering the results you want. And I will again say that your book, I mean, page by page, there's so much that is so beyond a social media story. Social media happened, but what it did, it had people bust out of the gates and show who they are. And they're there for the picking if we open ourselves up to that. So leaders, my question to both of you would be how do we get to the leaders and not point at them, but say, let go, guys. You'll get what you need. Care. Good.
This is a Buddha moment, Buddha-born moment.
So anyway, I just feel like I just want to be so enthused by what you've written.
So, Mark, I'm just going to motion that the 2 of us shut up and let Suzanne just speak for us. She's clearly doing a better job than we are.
No. I'm just going to hit the mute button. That's all I'm going to do.
Well, I think to me, Suzanne is emphasizing 2 points. Build a relationship with your customers and your employees. Care. That's why I put the word care on the Buddha board.
Okay. That's cool.
And beyond the relationship, you're building a community. People will the caring that you're building on a day-to-day with people. When people go to sleep, they feel that you're part of. Like Tal has mentioned, feel like you're part of an experience. You're experimenting. We're going to tell we're experiencing something, like we are on a Rockstar hangout, we're experiencing a feel. There's an energy feel about these conversations. So leadership, building a relationship, and then you're feeling part. You're feeling part of something that's bigger than you. Like Jane, when she came into our tribe, that wasn't scripted. I mean, there's just a gift of her person coming in, and same thing with Suzanne when we met in New York in January, and relationships matter. Being part of something bigger than us matter, as long as there's meaning. That's what I take from this conversation.
Well, I think. Oh, go ahead, Ted. Please, you go.
Well, I was just going to say, a lot of what we're looking at in the social age is the industrial age clamped down too much. I'm a big history geek, and so life used to be chaos. And when business was chaos, you had all these tiny little cottage industries that were fighting against each other. No uniformity, no efficiency. And so what happened over time is that businesses got really good at efficiency because, you could drive out the competition by just out efficiencying them. Wow, that was tough. You're welcome. I just invented a word. So
that word is not in the book, just so everybody knows. That word is not in the book.
He's having a double espresso moment right now.
But here's the thing. So we went much too far the other way. We went from Wild West, no control at all, to all control, no room to breathe. And what the social age is doing is it's bringing us back to center. It's bringing us back to, if you're not efficient by now, we just went through the Great Recession, probably your company is efficient, or else you wouldn't be in business still.
Yeah.
But let's take a breath. Let's inject some humanity into this. Let's hire a few English majors to complement the data miners, and let's try to allow people to do the work that they want to do. And I think an earlier question that we were talking about, what is the real secret sauce here? You don't have to spoil your people rotten in a way that they don't want to work. The best people out there are dying to work hard. They just love to work hard. So let them.
Yeah.
Well, Ted, it's so funny because I was going to the exact same space you were. Mostly, Suzanne, to answer your question. You asked how we get more leaders to take the leap. My words, not yours. But here's the deal, and it gets right back to what Ted said. We are stuck right in between the command and control, autocratic leadership that we were all taught in business school. We were taught if your profits aren't high enough, you go more rigid, right? You don't open a collaborative environment. You don't take the time to build relationships. You become even more rigid, right? That's what we were taught. That's what our fathers did. That's what our mothers did. That's what we were taught in business school. Profits, profits, profits. Now in the social age, we have this completely different approach where now we're saying, look, if you hire the best people and you trust them and you treat them with respect and you let them become a solution on their own, right? We enable this collaborative, open environment where we all count on each other to help solve a problem. It's not just the workaholics problem. It's not just the introverts problem. It's not, all these different personality types we have in the workforce. It's our problem and we're here together to solve it. That's a big leap to make. And a lot of leaders, especially think about this now, 35, 40, 45, 50, we all learned the rigid process in school. It's what we were raised on. That's how we entered the workforce. Now think about the millennial CEOs that are out there now. They have no trouble with this. They have no difficulty at all saying, I don't care if somebody's on their smartphone today. Maybe they're tweeting about how much they love working here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where the rigid old command and control guys going, get off that smartphone, now you can't be getting any work done. Right? It's a whole different mentality. So Susan, this is happening. It's already happening. It just maybe the younger generations are embracing it a little sooner than some of the older generations.
Mark, I do have one thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Jane.
I don't know if anybody's read the book, The Art of Leadership, or Leadership is an Art by Max Dupree. and he asked the question in there, and this is like several years ago because I read the book. It's been many years ago since I read the book, but I've never forgot the statement in there where he says, do your employees walk around like they own the place? Well, they should. And it's trying to get them to take ownership, and that has meant a lot to me over the years because there's a lot of times when I'd be sort of like disoriented about what should I be doing and having so many responsibilities, and I would have to stop and say to myself, if I owned this company, what would I want me to be doing right now? And if it's not playing on my smartphone, then what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And that's always helped me to come back to focus, like what should I be doing right now that's going to benefit this company.
And what we've been doing for more than 90 minutes is playing, is what you're saying, Jane. And I'm, I feel like we should just close the space on this note, as we have a part 2 coming soon, very soon. And Mark, Ted, Jane, Sue, Suzanne, Tal, Akim, and whoever else is watching, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the Global Rockstars community. There's a lot of meaning making that's been going on, and much of it also as incubation and anticipation of this moment. Beyond this conversation, there's friendships that's been built, people that care, and I think there's a secret plan that Sue and I are planning to maybe organize an energy retreat here for guys. But anyway, just I'm saying that, yeah, happy people clearly lead to profits, but beyond that, it's showing humanity and being our authentic selves. And want to thank you for setting the stage and the tone for the rest of the industry. You guys are awesome, and I want to leave some of this content for another discussion. So on behalf of all, I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Cheers.